Hello, in this video I will show you how to create a project using a TIA Portal 15. This may be a crude setup for recording since I'm using a phone in recording the video, but depending on your support, it may improve in the future. So let's start. First, open the project, open the TIA Portal 15. In opening the software, it may take some time depending on the hardware of your PC. So this software really requires a much higher hardware on your PC, at least 8 gig RAM. So now the software is opening now. First, you have to create new project, then rename it as whatever you want. I name it as counter. It can even have a space in renaming it. So after that, after you create a project, then click the project view. So click the project view, and then it will open on a new window. You have to add a new device and select the appropriate hardware of the PLC. So how about this part number of the PLC? The part number that you have selected in this add new device must match the actual hardware, the actual part number, whatever is connected on your computer. So if it happens that the part number is not matched with what you have selected in this add new device, if you download the program to the PLC, the LED of the PLC will turn red, and you can observe when you online the software, the program, it will have an error. So the part number must match with the actual hardware that is connected on your computer. It's very important. And after that, press OK. Then just wait for a moment. Depending on the speed of your computer, it may take some time. So this software requires a higher spec of your computer. So this is how you program the hardware config. So on the left part of the Windows, the software, you can find the catalog. You can drag all the existing input and output module on the middle part of the software. So after that, the next thing is you have to set the input and output address of the PLC. So how about this? Why it is important that you have to be very careful in setting the input and output address of the PLC. For example, if you use in the program 0.0 and 0.1 in the input address, but you set in the input address in these input output addresses as which is different, you will notice that it will not trigger or it will not work. So whatever you set on the output addresses in the setting must match whatever the how you use the input and output address in the program. So let's continue. So I'm using the start address 20.0. For example, by using this, I may use an input address of 20.0, 20.1, 20.2. And the output address, I may use Q 20.0, Q 20.1. So I cannot use the input address of input 0.0, input 0.1, since I already set the start address as 20.0. So be very careful about that for your program to work. So then let's create the program. So let's just wait. So let's first use the first input. So let's use, okay, so as you notice, we use 20.1, not 0.1, because we have set the address of the input output setting in the CPU starting from 20 and 21, so it must match. Okay, then you can rename the tag whatever you want to rename it, then change. Then after that, you can drag the counter on the left part of the windows of the software. So just look for the counter. So there's the counter, then drag the counter, then name it whatever you want, or the most practical name you want. You can even have a space between naming it. You can even add space. Okay, then the set counting number, and the reset trigger, so that the counting will reset back to 0. Okay, you can also rename it. So we will use the input address. After that, you can use the counter contact. You will notice that the counter that you have created is already there. You can just select it, then drag the output. Then it must of course start also with 20. So now we are using Q20.2 because that is what we set in the hardware a while ago. Rename it, change, and after that, so it is very important that during the first time you download a project on the PLC, you must select hardware and software, because you have changed the setting of the hardware. After that, you can just download software only changes, but initially you have to download hardware and software. After that, you will just wait, and this will appear. What does this means? First is the type of the PGPC interface. This is the protocol. The common protocol now by every PLC of Siemens is the PNE, which is using the RJ45. That is what? That is the technology that has the IP number. And the PGPC interface is the hardware of your computer where the RJ45 is connected. So you have to check it. Then after that, start browse. It will check the PLC that is connected on your computer. Then after that, press load. Then just wait. It is compiling your program to see if there is an error. So it must compile first your program. If there is an error, it will not continue. It will have an error message. So let's just wait. So why this is happening? Because the program you want to download on the PLC is very different from what is actually down on the PLC itself. So there's a very big difference. So if there is a very big difference of the program, this will appear. But if there is some minor changes, like for example some minor addition of the program, then this will not appear. So just press continue, synchronization, and check, stop all, then load, and it will load your program on the PLC. After that, just click finish, then press the online, the mirror, so to online the PLC. So as you see, there is no error. So for example, if you press the button, it will count. So let's just wait. The button, you press 1, press 2, press 3. So now the output is triggered and it is reset again. So that is how it is.